Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica and I make videos all about making and selling candles. And in today's video, we are going to be going over how to pick your candle wax. Now, this is something where I should have done a lot more research and I should have tried a lot more different waxes, but I've actually only tried one wax, you guys. I've only tried one soy wax. It's an all natural, 100% soy. It's highly fortified, so there are a couple other things in there to help with the hot throw and all that kind of stuff. But I highly recommend to everybody else to try a couple different kinds of wax before you settle on one, because you really never know if you're just trying one wax, and if you're having so many issues with it, you could be trying other waxes. And you don't always have to buy like these big 50 something pound boxes. You can buy smaller 10 pound, maybe 5 pound, depending on the website. I think it's mainly 10 or 12 or something like that. And you can buy different waxes and test it in the jars, and that way you can really see and really tell what kind of wax you want to work with. So if you're just getting started and this is the first time that you're going to be searching for a kind of wax, highly recommend, just like in the other video, look for a local supplier. So go onto Google, type in candle supplier near me, and see if there is a location that is a good distance away from you that you could drive to, because just like with the jars, wax is very heavy, so shipping can be a lot. If you don't have a supplier near you, then I would recommend to check out the description box below. I will link to a lot of different websites that you can check on the wax, and you can see different kinds of waxes that they offer. Now the fun part is to research on different kinds of waxes. So there are a bunch of different waxes that you can choose from. For container jars, the top ones is paraffin, coconut, and soy wax. And those are just one of the most popular waxes out there. However, you can also do blends, which a lot of people do blends. So you can blend multiple different waxes together. You can either buy this pre-blended or you can test and blend it yourself. I would recommend starting off with something that you can buy from a supplier and you don't have to blend yourself, because that's something that might take a little bit more time and you might be more confused on what to do and how to blend it together. So I would recommend starting off with something that you can buy from a supplier before you try to blend it yourself. Later on, you can kind of experiment with that, but to get started when you're first starting out, just so you're not getting more frustrated than needed, I would recommend buying from a supplier that has the wax ready to go and you can just melt that down and then make candles from it. Something else that I would recommend is, once you do find a wax that you do want to work with, call up the supplier and ask them what other waxes are in it, or if there's anything important that you need to know. I use soy number 10 and I wasn't too sure if there was any other kinds of waxes in it, so I actually called them up and asked them what was in it, and the guy actually kind of made a joke because he was like, well, I can't tell you exactly what's in it. I didn't want to know all the fortifying things that they put in there to make it the way it is. I just wanted to know if there was any other kind of wax like paraffin or, you know, coconut wax or beeswax or anything. I just wanted to know, because originally I thought that there was beeswax in it, but when I called him up and I asked, he said, nope, it's just 100% soy. So I guess I was wrong. I've been thinking there's beeswax in it the whole time, but it's just a soy wax. Now, when you think about candle making, something that I didn't realize about it is that it's kind of complicated. There's a lot of science and math that goes into it, because we're doing like a melting experiment, we're adding different things to it, and we're trying to formulate it to work as, you know, best as we can. And I just want to let all of you guys know there is no easy way. There's no, I want the easiest wax to work with. I want something that's not going to have any issues or cause any problems or anything. Even the wax that I use, which I talk about really highly, I love it so much, it does have its downfalls. So just know that all waxes will have its pros and cons, and that you're not going to try to find the perfect wax to use that won't cause you any issues, because that's not happening. For instance, soy is very, very popular. A lot of people love to buy soy wax candles. A lot of people like to use soy wax candles in their business, and that is what I have chosen to use as well. The only thing that you need to know about 100% all natural soy wax is that it can be very temperamental, especially depending on the kind of soy wax that you want to work with. For instance, I know that 464 has a lot of issues with uneven tops. It'll have like little bumpiness on it after the first burn. It can have some sinkholes in it, a lot of frosting on the side of the glass. And when you start to work hand in hand with the wax that you're going to be using, you'll start to learn that wax. So, and you'll know what I mean once you start working with it. You'll start to know your wax, kind of like how you start to know the car you're driving. Like you just know its little different corks that it does, or like, you know, maybe that's a bad analogy, but just something that you work closely with, like an inanimate object, you'll start to understand and learn that when you do certain things, you'll get certain outcomes. And the main thing, and I think the main reason why a lot of people don't want to use soy, is because of the frosting. So frosting is when the wax, the all natural soy wax in the candle, once it's done cooling, it tries to return to its natural state of just being the soy wax, and it will start to have this like coating, this frosting on the side of the jar. It doesn't affect the way that the candle burns at all. A lot of people don't like it because it just doesn't really look very good, and especially if you're coloring your candles, it stands out a lot more. So a lot of people don't like that about soy wax, which I totally get, and I know that there's a lot of different methods that people will use to try to combat and not have as much frosting or any frosting. And one of the methods that I see all the time is the Alex method, and what that entails is you're basically melting down the wax to about 150 degrees. You don't want to bring it any higher than that, just enough to melt down the wax, and then you bring it off the burner, you pour it into your jar at around 100 degrees, which absolutely blew my mind, because when I was thinking about doing that method with my candle wax, I did do it, I tried it, and it was pretty much completely solid. I mean, it was chunks of wax. My wax cools down super fast. So I usually pour at around like between 155 and 160. So to kind of give you a reference on how fast my wax cools down. You can also try to heat up your jars before you are pouring in the wax. I've heard that a lot of people do that. They heat up their jars before they pour the wax into them, and it has eliminated frosting for them. So there's a lot of different methods that you can use. So if you do choose soy and it is frosting, there are ways to try to combat it, but don't kill yourself over it. It's not the end of the world that there's a little bit of frosting to it. It really doesn't change the candle too much. It's just a matter of the look of it. And to be honest, if it really bothers you, you can just do what I did and get a jar where you can't see the wax on the inside. That's not really the reason why I chose this jar, but it was a good plus. Something else to take into consideration when you're using waxes like soy, I'm not too sure if other waxes do this, but I know that it can't just be soy that has these issues. Sometimes you'll get uneven tops, sinkholes, little bumpies on it after burning. There's a whole bunch of different things that can happen with candle wax because it changes based on, probably based on the climate that you're in, the temperature that you're pouring, the kind of wax that's in it, the type of fragrance oil you're putting in it, if you're putting any dye in it, that could all change the chemical composition of it. And I absolutely hate science, but it's starting to make more sense to me that this is a chemical experiment that we're doing, and that all these different things being added to could change the outcome of your candle. And with that, a lot of people will use heat guns to be able to reheat the tops, get rid of the sinkholes, and start to have more of that smooth top to it. One of the things that happens with my wax is, although it does have a smooth top, it does this weird kind of dip in the wax, and it happens kind of in the middle of it. So when there's a wick in it, you don't really notice it as much. It kind of dips in and then kind of caves up onto the wick. It really doesn't bother me, and the wax itself is very, very smooth and creamy, so it really doesn't bother me to have that kind of dip in it, especially because after it burns, I don't get any type of like unevenness or anything to it. So, but if I did, if the tops were, having sinkholes or something, I would just use a heat gun and it would be able to melt it and kind of re-solidify in a more even state. Now, besides the look of your candle wax, the main reason why people buy candles is so that they can have a really nice smell to fill up whatever room they're going to be burning the candle in. So you want to be able to test the hot throw of your candle wax and have a candle wax that's going to be able to retain that fragrance oil in a really nice way, and then be able to have a really nice hot throw. So what a hot hot throw is that is the smell of the candle while it's burning. And then to contrast that, a cold throw is just straight up out of the jar, having the wax cold and solidified and what it smells like out of the jar. So sometimes people will have the issue that the cold throw is really nice, but then when they go to light the candle and have it burning for a little bit, they say they can't smell it at all. So that could be due to a couple different reasons. In the next video, we'll be talking about wicks, so you'll learn that that also has something to do with the fragrance throw as well. But with the wax, that is really where it starts, at least in my opinion, is that because that is holding the fragrance oil, that is going to be your starting point. So if you are getting a wax that has absolutely no throw to it at all, it could be from a couple different reasons. So you'll probably want to try a couple different waxes, just like how I said in the first part of the video. I would go to a couple different suppliers and really take your time with it. I mean, patience, I need to push patience so much more on my channel because a lot of people are getting discouraged, and I don't want you to get discouraged. And just take your time. It should be a very, not completely enjoyable process, but a highly enjoyable process, in the sense of just taking your time and learning, and you won't learn everything all at once. It's going to take a little bit of time. So I hope this video helped you guys, and I hope that you will take the leap to try out a couple different waxes for yourself at home. And if you guys have any other questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I want to thank you guys so much for all the love and all the support that I've gotten from you guys just in like the past month or so. It's absolutely insane, and I still can't believe it. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate you guys so much. And I love that there's so many beginners and so many people that are interested in trying candles, and that you're commenting and letting me know that my videos are really helping you guys. So it means the world to me, and I would love it if you guys would subscribe, as well as give this video a thumbs up, and follow me on Instagram at MemoryBoxCandleCo. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. Which absolutely blowed my mind. Blowed? I may or may not have had this box of cereal next to me while I was recording.